Welcome to Lake Cumberland Amateur Radio Association. You can find us at LCARA.net, on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Instagram. If you're enjoying the videos we're producing here at LCARA, please help our club out by hitting that subscribe button. Also, give us some feedback on our videos. Click the like button, share with anybody who may find it interesting, and be sure and hit the bell icon to make sure you get notified of the next video release.
Hello folks, this is Chris, KY4CKP, and today we're going to be taking a look at a mobile radio, or what's considered a mobile radio, and we're going to do a couple of these in our series. We've done a couple of the handy talkies, we're going to do a couple of mobile radios, and then we'll move into and talk about a couple of sort of more traditional portable and or shack type radios. And this is a Baofeng Tech, BTech, and this is their U.S. distributor, official U.S. distributor for Baofeng. And this is the 25X4, and it's maximum 25 watts of output, depending on the frequency you're using, and four bands. Now, the four bands of this radio, one of those bands is an Asian specific band and is not authorized for use here in the United States. So it really becomes a tri-band radio for all practical purposes. And that's exactly why I bought it. I mentioned it in the previous video on our handy talkies that the Meerkat, which is a variation of the UV5R, and we talked about programming those handy talkies. And the programming for this unit and a mini unit's very similar to this. There's a whole, just like the handy talkies, there's a whole bunch of radios from a lot of manufacturers. They're all very similar. In fact, the casings and stuff look very, very similar, pretty much exact. But the programming for this unit is slightly different from the handy talkies. Some of those memory positions or menu positions that we mentioned in the previous video are the same, but a couple of them are different. And we're just going to go over that. And the overall programming, though, is pretty much the same. You know, those four main memory or menu options that you need, and then a fifth option if you want to store those settings into a memory channel. So let me go ahead and turn this unit on so we have something a little bit nicer to look at. The UV25x4. And we'll keep the volume down for now. We may have some intermittent traffic. Because I do have this unit programmed up. It's usually in my car. And I have some local repeaters where I live. And then also some repeaters down in Somerset, Kentucky, where LCARA is stationed out there near there in Nancy and Ingle, Kentucky. And that's at 146880. That's our main primary site. And then the other locations, 715, that's about 30 or 35 miles south of me, sort of between myself and Somerset, and Berea, Kentucky. And I work with that repeater and a couple of other repeaters in that area. There's several there, in fact. And then the other two are here in kind of in my hometown with the Bluegrass Amateur Radio Association and some folks up here. So we're going to go ahead and stop this segment here, and then we'll bring you folks right back, and we'll talk a little bit and show you how you can program the Baofeng Tech 25X4 mobile radio. So we'll bring you right back. All right, folks, we're back, and in this section right here, I just want to go ahead and bring you into the menu system for this Baofeng variation, this mobile style, and show you how it's similar but a little different to the handy talkie. So I'm going to take the handset here, and of course it's got the keys and the buttons and everything on it, so you can do work right from the handset. A lot of these radios will have this, not all. But it's kind of nice when they have these. You can usually do some of the similar stuff right from the buttons on the main unit, but right here on the handset. So I'm just going to take this and just going to kind of show you how you can get in here and what the menu options are for the 25X4 mobile radio. I do have it connected to an antenna. I've got a temporary setup 2 meter 70 centimeter Yagi antenna, in fact, here in my office. And then I've also got it set up temporarily to a 12 volt power supply. So I usually have this connected to a 12 volt cigarette lighter adapter connection in the car. Usually The 25 watt and less units can connect to like a 12 volt adapter, accessory adapter, again, what we might have called a cigarette lighter adapter in the past. Usually once you get up more like a 50 watt unit and above, usually those will need a direct connection to the battery. Now you can take units like this one directly to your battery, but they come with a cable that you can take it to a 12 volt supply, and that's usually what I just do. So let's go into the menu system. Now on this handheld mic unit, the menu system is up here at the top. It actually came with the silk screening, not quite perfect, but you can kind of see what it is, and I know what it is. Of course, the documentation will show you what that is. So it's up there in the upper corner. So we hit menu. You see the menu comes up, and if we look back at that Baofeng Handy Talkie video where I went over the simple steps, once you've got your technician license, and again, of course, congratulations to anybody who may be a little bit newer with their technician license. It's great to have additional hams with us. If you're looking to get your license, or if you're still studying for your license, we want to encourage that and wish you good luck on the test. So we went into the menu systems here, and again, a couple of these settings are the very same settings as the Handy Talkies, but a couple of them are slightly different. And there are, of course, manuals and things for these radios, but we'll cover the those 4 main settings, and then the 5th setting, which is basically when you want to save things to a memory location. So like the Handy Talkies, if we go to menu option 11, right, there's RCTCS. If you need to receive and you need to put in a value there, you can hit menu again. You see it drops down, and then the up and down arrows here at the top, and you can choose those frequencies you might need to use. So we went over a lot of that in the Handy Talkie section as well, so you could set those up. Okay, and we'll just leave it off for now for this demonstration purpose. We'll take a look at one of these memory stations we've got here in a minute. So that's the RCTCSS. So that's 11. And again, just like the Handy Talkies, if we then go to 13, there's the transmit CTCS. And again, currently it's off, but you could pick that frequency if it's 103 something, or just whatever that repeater listing is. A lot of clubs will have a website, and on the website they'll have the repeater listing, or you can go to Repeater Book. Repeater Book has applications for your phone or tablet, iOS or Android, and they have just a website that you can use from any web browser. Just go to repeaterbook.com. So there's very easy ways to look up repeaters in your area, by zip code or the county or the state you're in, and things like that. And they'll usually have the information that you would need for a for a repeater, and we did see that for LCARA. If you go to LCARA.net, LCARA.net, we've got information about all the repeaters and the remote sites and things that we operate. So 11 and 13, 11 for the receive CTCS and 13 for the transmit CTCS. We'll go back into menu, just hit menu and go back in. It'll time out and kind of kick you out if you don't make a selection quickly enough. Now the next ones are a little bit different from the Handy Talkies. On the Handy Talkies, the next ones we were talking about was selection 25 and selection 26 for the shift plus or minus offset that you might want to use, and then of course the amount. Pretty typically, a 0.6 offset, or a 5 offset, or your 2 meters, 70 centimeters, whatever you're going to work with. For those settings here in this mobile unit, and for some of these mobile units, instead of 25 and 26, it actually becomes 46. Let's go back into the menu. 46. There's that offset, right? And you see it's at negative. If we hit menu again, now we can change the setting off, positive or negative. So just whatever the repeater requires, positive or negative offset. It's just off right here, but it's the same thing that you would program like on the Handy Talkies, and we'll be showing that. And then you hit menu again to kind of save whatever that setting was, and then you can either exit the menu, or you could go on to another menu option. So you can go up to the next menu option, 47, right? Or you could type in 47, and it'll take you right to a menu option. And there's that offset, right? Is it a positive or negative offset? is it 0.6 negative or 5 positive, whatever that repeater is configured for you to put in there. So yeah, again, it's again very similar. Um, the labels for the menu options and a lot of the options are very similar between the at least most of the Baofeng style radios and even some of these the many variations of a lot of these mobile radios. There can be a slight difference. So 11 and 13 are the same, but then for the offset and the amount of the offset, it's 46 and 47 instead of 25 and 26. And then and that's the four settings we typically need to get on a repeater. And then the final setting here in again the mobile at least is 44. So if you go to 44, either by going up down or just type it straight in, you can go to 44 memory channel, and you can select a memory channel to save your settings. All right, folks, we're back. And in this section here, we just want to show how we can program in a repeater. Again, the steps are pretty much what they were for the steps we had for the UV5R style of radios in that video that we posted. Again, a couple of the menu options are slightly different. We just covered that in the previous segment. But we'll show you how you can look up repeater information, or if you've got some repeater information, and the the pieces of information that we need, just like again, pretty much like last time. But we want to show that. So let me pan you folks up to the monitor, computer monitor, and we'll try to do this smoothly. And I've got repeaterbook.com open. Should be able to see that pretty well. Got repeaterbook.com open, and I've also got a tab open to our LCARA.net website. In fact, I clicked on repeaters. We can go back to the home page for a moment. Here's our LCARA.net homepage. Information about the club, about testing, different things like that. Our social media, like YouTube videos like this one, and our Facebook, and we have Instagram and that kind of thing. And then we have a section over here, hopefully you can see that in the menus, called repeaters. Most clubs are going to have the information about their repeaters on their club website. But you can also go to, and so you can see we have different repeaters and linked scenarios and things. But you can also go to Repeater Book. Let's say you haven't found or settled on a club yet. You can go to Repeater Book. You can create an account if you'd like to. But you can just come right into Repeater Book. And you can see I've looked up in the state of Kentucky where I live, and I can look up 2 meter repeaters, 1.25, 1.25 meter, 70 centimeters, 6, whatever. And they have lots of the different states and areas that you could be in and those kinds of things, and by county, depending on the county in that you live in for your state. So let's look up a 2 meter repeater. So I'll click on 2 meters here. And so here in the state of Kentucky, 140. Now we're a fairly rural state, and our population statewide is not real huge, and we have 140 repeaters. Places like high density population areas like California and a few other spots, probably Florida and a few other places, you may have a lot of repeaters to choose from, and a lot of them may be quite close to you. I can hit quite a few. I live in the second largest area of Kentucky. But of course here now we can see all the repeaters listed, and they show them by county, the city and the county, and then who runs that repeater. So let's just kind of take a look here. Let's go to see what we can find here. We're going to go to let's go to this one. Let's try this one. We'll see if it's responding for us today. 145.460. Now sometimes you'll see 6 positions, sometimes you'll see 7 positions. So 146.00, 146.0. It's a negative 0.6 offset. That's pretty common for 2 meters. If you look at this list, you'll see a lot of minus 0.6 offsets. That's pretty common for 2 meters. And this one happens to be in the city of Lexington, and this happens to be the tallest building in that city. So it's a good spot to have a repeater and antenna if you could get that location, and somebody was able to get that. Well, that one's D-Star. Okay, yeah, that one's digital, and we're not going to do digital today, but that would be a good one to do. But I think they have another repeater on that same building. So let's just scroll down a little bit more. I didn't go past it. Yeah, here's another. 1469400. Again, 2 meters minus zero point 0.6. You need to know this information. It's usually minus zero point 0.6 for 2 meters, but it doesn't necessarily have to be. You'll see there's a plus 6 up here right above that. See if I can highlight that for you folks. There's a plus 6. So, whatever the repeater operator is doing, it would usually be a minus zero point 0.6. And you can see we do have tones, 88.5, receive at 8.5, transmit. And again, it's on that same tall building. And so we can program this one in. Now, I've actually got it already programmed into this radio, but we'll put it in again so you can see those options. So when you use repeater book, all these frequencies for the repeaters are hot links. So you can just click on those, and it'll take you to a detail page for that particular repeater. So here we've got some details for this repeater, and we can see 940 is what it's going to transmit on. There's a minus zero point 0.6 offset, so you notice the uplink is 340, right? Once you subtract the 600, you get 940, you get 340. So it shows you the uplink and downlink tones. Now, sometimes the uplink and downlink tones are different. So just whatever the repeater operator is putting in there. Here they're the same number for the two different values, right? Value 13, menu option 13, menu option 11. And shows you the location, and it's on a pretty good building here in the area, and it has a pretty good radius. And I can tell you that it does have pretty good coverage. I'm fairly close to it, but it does have a pretty good coverage there. So let's see if we can program this one in using those bits of information. So let's scroll back, we'll pan you back down to the radio. So again, we'll try to do this smoothly. And we'll program that in. Now, I actually do have it programmed in, but we'll go through the programming steps anyway, and just show that off. All right, that's got it pretty much in the screen there. You can see down there at the bottom, I've got it programmed in, since this is my area. But we'll, like I say, we'll show you how you can do that. Let's take the current location that I'm sitting on. You can see the cursor, the arrow cursor there on the left-hand part of the screen, right about there. Right, that tells you which of the channels. They can monitor four channels at once. It tells you that I'm monitoring 146.520. That's the national 2-meter calling frequency. That's just sort of open, and anybody can use it. If you're traveling, it's a good idea to kind of monitor that. Maybe put your call sign out there as you go. If you're going on the interstate or something, you hit different cities and towns and locations. A lot of folks are encouraged to monitor that because there could be emergency traffic. We can kind of use that for emergency traffic, and just if you're just in between locations and maybe you don't know repeater information in that area, or at least not yet. Hopefully you could find some contacts on 520. So, but we can start on that position here on my screen, and let's see if we can program in the information for this repeater. Even though you see it down there in the very next position, but we'll see if we can't program it in and get success. So one of the first things we need to do with this radio, and a lot of these radios, they have memory mode, and they have what's a lot of times referred to as VFO mode or program mode. And it may be a little hard to tell, but the button, the gray button there in the back says VM, VM, V/M. So that's VFO mode, memory mode. So we want to go into memory mode. So let's go back up to that memory position. Get our cursor there, and we'll hit memory mode. And now I should be able to start using the keypad here, typing in the numbers. There we go. So the repeater is 146.940, and if your radio has that 7th position, we can put in that last 0. So now we've got the frequency put in. And like we said in the handy talkie video, we need to put in some of those other things, the offset, negative or positive, and what the number is. In our case, pretty common, 2 meters, 0.6, negative offset. And then those tones, receive and transmit tones of 88.5. So we'll go into the menu. We've got our frequency set. We'll go into the menu here. Let's go to 11. The receive. let's hit menu again. Notice where the arrow is. It's next to the R. We hit menu again. So now we can actually change the value. And we need to go to 88. So let's go to 88 and hopefully take the shortest route there. There's 88.5. That's what we need. Now to lock in your setting, hit menu again. Goes back up to R. It's locked it in. Now we can just go straight to memory option or menu option 13. Hit menu, upper, and again. We'll go up to 88.5. Whoops. There we go. Hit menu to lock it in. So now we've got our transmit and receive tone set for this repeater. Again, we're just following what we saw there on the repeater book, or if you're on a club's website, they should usually have this kind of information about their repeaters. And then again, we have a negative 0.6 offset. So again, we go into the menu, and in this case, we're going to go to 46. Right, there's the shift or the offset. Now it's already sitting on negative, but if we hit menu, drops it down, and then we could make a change, right? Positive offset. If there's no offset, right, off. And of course, in our case, we actually do want the negative offset, so we'll make sure it's negative offset. Hit menu to lock it in. Now I can either go to 47, or I can just use my up-down arrows, right? You can navigate the menus either way. So we can hit the other button. There we go, hit the up button, and now we're on menu option 47. We could have typed 47 straight in. There's the offset, and notice we don't have a proper offset yet. So hit menu, and we're just going to type it in. So we want a 0.6 offset, so 0, 0, 0, 6, 0, 0. 0.6 offset, menu to lock it in. And we already set the negative just a second ago, so now we're going to have our negative 0.6 offset. We've set our two tones, so we should be in pretty good shape. Now again, if we wanted to go to menu selection 44, we could put this in a memory channel location. Right now, I've already pretty much programmed most of the memory channels in this radio using PC software. Again, I typically use Chirp, and again, if you would like to see that video, just let us know in the chat below. But now we have that programmed in, we should be good to go. So let's see if that's working. Right, I just programmed the one you see with the arrow. The one below it was pre-programmed. But let's see if the one we just programmed is going to work. So let's turn up a little bit of volume. Try not to get it too loud. And again, you don't really want to do what's called chunking a repeater. You know, every great once in a while, you want to test functionality. You might just hit your transmit button briefly and just see if the repeater responds with a call sign, or you should see kind of see in here a little, kind of a click and stuff. You don't want to do that very much. It's really not polite, and it's not proper etiquette. I'm just going to put my call sign out there, say that I'm testing. We'll see if somebody comes back to verify our test. Okay, and or at least maybe we do hear the repeater come back. So we don't see any activity on it, not hearing anything. That volume might be a little loud, but we'll see. But let's see if it's working here. So let me put out my call sign. KY4CKP, just testing repeater access. Is anybody receiving me?
4K, your IRLP repeater.
Well, the repeater heard me. Got a full repeater identification, so we must have it programmed correctly, because it activated, so we know we have the transmit tone correct. We received, so we know we have the receive tone correct. So we did get it programmed correctly. And we'll wait just a minute or so, maybe just a few seconds, see if somebody comes back. There may not be anybody listening or handy. It is a fairly busy repeater at times. But since I'm testing, they may not bother to come back. And we're not hearing anything right away. But that's okay. We were able to verify that the repeater is working. So again, we're programming in repeaters for most of these systems. It's not all that difficult. It tends to be a fairly similar procedure from radio to radio, and within brands you'll have some similarity. If you have I'll turn that volume down in case we do get some traffic now. If you do have Yaesu handhelds, Yaesu mobiles or transportables or base stations will have some similarities. ICOMs, the menu systems, Kenwood's the menu systems. There will be usually some differences between handy talkies and the other major types of radios, but once you're within typically a sort of a brand, then usually you'll start to get a feel for how that brand tends to lay out its menus, the kind of labels they use for features and settings and things, and it helps you transition from radio to radio fairly quickly. And be sure and check out our other videos. If you like what we're doing here at LCARA, hit that subscribe button. Let us have some comments in the comment section if you want to see chirp programming or whatever you want to see. And we've got plenty more ideas to come. And we will see you folks in the next video, 73.